that music?
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham. We're back. Welcome to Bat-Minute Beyond, Chunkz of the Joker, the show that is here to deliver yet more amazing content for you good citizens out there. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And hello, Twips. The future is now, baby. Soon, every American home will integrate their television, phone, and computer. You'll be able to visit the Louvre on one channel and watch female mud wrestling on another. You can do your shopping at home or play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam. The specter of Jim Carrey hangs heavy over this podcast. It's been years since we had to talk about him.
I want to talk about him every day.
Yeah, coming to you live from the year 2040. It is me.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
We didn't know we were doing this at the time, but we really shot our wad with the world of tomorrow stuff in the Mask of the Phantasm season. But now we're legitimately in the world of tomorrow. Today, as it were, or from 24 years ago, and in many ways, some of the stuff in this film is very that's very early 2000s version of the future. But
oh yeah, absolutely. You know what? I cut you off saying your name. Maybe people are new. Maybe they want to know your name.
Oh yes, well I am Niall McGowan.
There you go. You might get some newbies. You never know. There might be some people who are like, I only like Batman Beyond. I don't like any other Batman.
Yeah. And they're also like, I don't like having a minute by minute, but this version of it, the 5 minute at a time thing, maybe I can handle. And we ourselves don't know how this is going to go, John, because we're sort of like, this is new territory for us to have to cover a film in this fashion. And it was very kind of like, as time went by, kind of a decision of like, people would ask us about Return of the Joker, and it was always like, yeah, we'll like do an episode on it, I guess. And then it was like, there's a lot to talk about in it. Maybe like a two-parter. And then the more you thought about it, it's like, you probably do that like 15 minutes at a time. And then it got down to like, no, there's a lot to talk about in it though. Because again, this is a legit opportunity for us to talk about elements that we, in our remit, might never ever get to talk about. Like, for one, we will officially get to talk about Harley Quinn at a couple of points of the film.
We'll officially get to.
Yeah, well, no, still, she does feature quite heavily.
Yeah.
We'd never have gotten to talk officially about Tim Drake otherwise, and we never, ever would have got to talk about Terry McGinnis as a character, which was a shame, because it's, Batman Beyond such a seminal piece of Bat history now. It was another, speaking of Harley Quinn, that was like another thing that the creators of BTAS made up, and now it's just established Bat canon, and Terry and whatnot. But
well, it was very interesting to me, because listeners, if you are a long-time listener, you will know my Batman world was always the live-action movies, so I don't know much about the other stuff. Obviously, over the years, I've learnt a lot more. I've read more comics. I've watched more things. But coming into this, I've never watched any Batman Beyond.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Niall, you recommended to me some episodes to watch to get like a primer on what's going on, so I wasn't confused. And I'm glad I watched them. It was mostly just the opening 2 episodes of the show.
Yeah.
Which establishes what the hell's going on. I'm glad I watched them, though, because I knew it was a different Batman, but I wouldn't have understood where he's coming from or anything.
Yeah.
And this still feels different anyway, because this gang are just like, what? This wasn't in that first one.
Yeah. I guess so. You had a different version of the Jokerz. But yeah, that was a kind of... it's weird in that, like... Yeah, the first 2 episodes really get you caught up for this film, I think, because it explains everything you need to know. But then literally within like the first couple of minutes, it is like, oh yeah, I guess like, you wouldn't know what the splicers and stuff are, because there's like, yeah, the hyena man there's like, oh, that's a thing in the show where there's an episode about like kids are getting addicted to a new drug that like turns them into animal hybrids and stuff, and they're called splicers.
Sounds totally cool. Yeah, absolutely.
And even the name splicers is so early 2000s. It's like, yeah, it's coming directly from the hackers kind of era of thinking. It was like, yeah, splicers.
Well,
sounds
a bit
cool,
like,
man.
I mean, when we delve into the minutes, we're going to talk about them more. But the gang in question, the Jokerz, just having it as a Z.
Yes.
Because they're cool.
I wonder, because I know Batman Beyond was a big thing with the WB Kids. And I think, did they have... No, I'm looking up the logo now. They had an S, but in my mind...
you were worried there was a Z.
I thought they might have been like, maybe it was a little mocking thing. Like, oh, they have the Z. We also have to include the Z. But, just to set the stage, though, for like the thing we're going to be talking about now for about 16 episodes, is like, obviously how they made, why the movie came into being, but also just how Batman Beyond itself came into being, because it's quite like, I just think it's kind of like a hilarious story about how that show came to be a thing.
Just in general, I just assumed somebody was like, wouldn't it be cool if we had like crazy year 2000 cyberpunk stuff? It's like, yeah, do it.
It is, well, they were right. It is very cool. But no, the reason Batman Beyond came into being is like the show itself is pretty much like studio interference. The show, because obviously back in the 90s we had BTAS, very successful. Mask of the Phantasm, not so much successful, but highly critically regarded. And then they revamped everything for the new Batman Adventures in 1997. Was where they redesigned all the characters, and they brought in with like a new focus on like, it's going to be more about like, we're going to have more stories about the Bat family, and there's going to be a lot more dynamic stuff, and there's actually quite a bit of a darker show, and Bruce Wayne's so much more of an asshole in it, and things like this. And that comes out, and people are griping about the way the Joker looks in it and stuff, but overall, massive success. Everyone's very happy with what they're doing. Everyone's just very excited to be working on it, and it's critical darling, ratings darling, and then Bruce Timm gets a phone call, and basically the phone call is, the new Batman Adventures, I like your hustle. That's why it was so hard to cancel you. And they were just like, what do you mean? And they're like, not in that way. Because we're canceling that show. We don't want you to make that anymore. What we're thinking is we want a new show. And the reason that new show was brought about was because of a little thing called Dawson's Creek. Basically, you might recall, John, growing up in the 90s, the late 90s was beset with, just teenage times. Like, yeah, the TV was taken over by Dawson's Creek.
Well, like 28-year-old teenagers.
28-year-old teenagers, yeah. People like the Chris O'Donnells just rose up and inherited the earth, apparently. The 35-year-olds are like, yeah, I'm a teenager, sure, why not? Now, the people giving me hope that I could still pass as a teenager, but one, and I look at the crow's feet by my eyes every night, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I could still play Xander and Buffy if they let me. But
you could pull it off, yeah. Why not? Just get a hairpiece, There's very few people that age who deliberately shave their head. You'd have to have a hairpiece.
Yeah, of course. But no, basically it was like at that time you had like the big things in the cinema were like the Scream movies. I Know What You Did Last Summer. American Pie's coming out, and then on TV, the big thing was like, yep, Dawson's Creek. Smallville is just around the corner, and the big one. Was, of course, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say that. I love Buffy.
Yeah, I'm currently just at the beginning of a Buffy rewatch as well.
Are you doing Angel?
I will do an Angel when I get there eventually, yeah. I'm doing one a week, though, so it'll be like 5 seasons of this show from now. I'll be finally getting to this like when they introduce Angel, I guess, because it's like, it's 22 episodes a season for Buffy, so it's like, it's gonna be a while.
And when you're doing Angel and Buffy, you're gonna have to watch one of each a week.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that would just be you'd be there forever.
Of course, yeah, they'll be absolutely.
And you'd forget everything because you'd have a 2-week break.
Yeah, also you just had like the one they had multiple crossovers, I think, but they had like with the Jewel of Amara. I remember it was a big one where Angel had to come back to town or whatever, and it was a big like 2-episode event, that Thursday night when it was on.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically Buffy's doing big numbers, and so the WB Kids specifically dragging Bruce Timm and the creative team. And they're just like, yeah, we want, like, teenage Batman. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And they're like, we don't know. Just like
figure it out.
Just go and make that, like, teenage Batman, Buffy, but like Batman. And so they're kind of like, why us? Like, we're making a successful show. We all love working on that show. They're not no more. You're not. You're gonna go do this thing. And apparently, literally, because they're going through all their ideas in their head of like, as we covered last season, John. So it's like, well, Bruce Wayne became Batman in his late 20s. You can't really do, like, what was he going to be, like a teenager fighting villains when he's not Batman? No one would watch a show about something like that. Like,
oh my God! Sadly, that has been disproven.
Like a lengthy prequel show wherein he's not Batman at all. Like, what the concept is this? And then the Smallville people are just there sketching on their hands. It's like, okay, we can use that. But yeah, and they're going through like, what do we do? Like, just a completely different entity, like a new show. But then they were, because they're they're dyed-in-the-wool comics book people, so they're like, Batman wasn't Batman when he's a teenager. That's stupid. We can't do that. And then literally, like, in a pitch meeting, Bruce Timm kind of just pulled out of his ass, like, what if it's like in the far future and it's like a new Batman, and then he can be like whatever. And
brilliant. I mean, that's the only way around it. That's the way to do it. There's no other. Unless you're time traveling, going through dimension, none of that. We don't want that. Come on.
I guess that's what they're doing, though. Because I remember that was around the time I stopped paying attention to like what they were doing with the Spider-Man cartoons.
Yeah. Because
then they got into all like Spider-Man. What was it, 2099 or something, whatever it was called? But
something like that. Yeah.
I remember that one been like, this isn't for me. Like, this is a bit too out there.
Well, it's easy to screw up an idea like this.
Yeah.
You know, to a lot of people, it's Batman in the future, and it's not even the Batman you know. They'd be like, well, I'm out then.
Yeah.
But somehow, this worked for me. Spoiler alert, people, it worked for me. I did very much enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, it took them a long time, even themselves, while they were making it. Like, Bruce Timm came up with that idea, and then even he walked out of the meeting going, like, I don't want to make that. Like, that sounds stupid. And then eventually he went to one of the people working on the show, Glenn Murakami, who we'll talk about more as the season goes on. And he just sort of mentioned it to him. He's like, yeah, I guess this is what we're doing now. And then Glenn Murakami was like, oh, that's great. Like, because then you can do it, like, you can make it like Spider-Man, where it's like a teenager dealing with teenage stuff, but also he's a superhero, and you can do all stuff with his girlfriend and tackling school life and superheroes. And like, we can make our own version of Spider-Man now.
And then Bruce ruining the Batman you know.
Yeah, exactly. You've got like carte blanche. And then Bruce Timm was like, the more this guy talked to him about his own idea, he was like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, this is going to be great. And yeah, so they went and they made... they just had to throw together a season of TV. It was one of those demented deadlines too, where they're like, "Okay, great, go make that show. We need it by next year."
I think I said we need it by like Thursday.
Yeah, well, even next year for an animated show where they just like literally they got nothing. They got no like they've not got one concept drawing. They're just like, "Here's an idea, make that show for next year." And also, by the way, you still have to finish that new Batman Adventures that you're currently making. And also, you have to finish that Superman cartoon that you're currently making. And so that 3 shows, they're juggling at the same time. And then eventually, they were just doing things like sitting in story room meetings going like, just draw bad guys. I'm like, well, what's the pitch for them? Just draw bad guys. Just draw them. And then hand the ones over.
Actually, I think that's a good way of doing it. Isn't that's basically how George Lucas worked, wasn't it? He would say to the artist, just make some aliens, and then he would come around and look at them and go, yeah, that's a good one. We'll use that one.
That's the same thing. So now sort of iconic villains like Ink and Shriek made up for Batman Beyond, and it was basically a guy sitting on a sofa drawing a thing and handing it to a writer. And then being like, it's sound. He does something with sound. And they're like, okay, we can just, whatever. I'll make up a story about that. Yeah, and then, they built the show from the ground up. And then it came out, was successful. And, wasn't enough pressure on them. So they're like, yeah, we're really enjoying this. Now you're in early production of season 2. We want a movie. We want you to come out and do a Batman Beyond movie.
Wait, so they did that really early on?
Yeah, apparently as they were beginning production of season 2, Much the same way they did Mask of the Phantasm, where it's like, oh, you assume they finished the show and then they made the movie. It's like, no,
or
they
at the
were
very
making...
least, like halfway through the run. Yeah.
Yeah. But this was like, no, you're gearing up to begin. And there's 3 seasons of Batman Beyond. The beginning of production of season 2. They're like, yeah, go, like, just take the same. We're not hiring new people. Just take the people you already have.
I hope they got paid extra, though, and it wasn't just, oh, no, we're paying you, a monthly wage. You're not getting extra.
So, I don't know. That could be that you're just like, do you want to make we can get other people to make Batman shows for us. I'm like, no, I want to make Batman. Like, this is a dream job. It's like, well, it's a dream job under the whip now, boy. Get the damn Return of the Joker movie out as fast as you can.
Oh, well, I'm glad they were pressured into it, because I think the team on this, they're very good. It looks great.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I'm critical of animated things, and this has it as well, where there's a floatiness. Like, when people move, it's like really slow. And this does have it as well, but so did all animation from this time. So I'm forgiving it that. The visuals are fantastic. Like the colors, it's kind of clean and bold and simple, but not in like a way they were lazy.
Yeah, I feel this is like it's like the best version of what they had to go for after the show, like the BTAS redesign, because BTAS looked incredible, but it was so costly and expensive to do. Like, again, like we're talking about things like they would have like one animation studio just airbrushing the ice on the inside of Mr. Freeze's helmet, that kind of stuff. And
it's
like,
not really sustainable for a whole show, is it? Like...
Yeah, it looks incredible. And then they had to do New Batman Adventures, which is like, yeah, I mean, it's great, but it doesn't look anywhere near as good. And then Batman Beyond is like, no, they started getting there. And then, this is like, I think sometimes the coloring in comparison to BTAS falls a bit flat. Like, it just looks very like, that's digitally colored, and it's just very like...
But I think that's deliberate. I think that's part of the design to make it futuristic.
I don't know about that. I think that might have been just like, this is what we got to work with now.
Maybe that was what they had to work with. So they were like justifying it the way I am in their head.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's fine. It's okay. Because it fits the vibe.
Yeah. And I think this movie, it looks really, really terrific. I think like my history with this movie too, because I think your history, John, is like last Thursday when you watched it for the first time. But yeah, it was one of those things, because I was like 12 when Batman Beyond started, so kind of growing out of stuff, but at the same time, Batman was close to my heart, so it was like, I remember watching the opening episodes when they're on TV, but it'd been like, oh, okay.
Well, actually, that ties into something, right? I'm going to have to say it now because it's relevant. The character... I'll say this short form, so I've got more to say later. The character... I could imagine a 12-year-old being like, oh, he's cool.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? So it would appeal to you. If you just saw this on a whim, you'd be like, oh, okay.
Again, that was part of like the WB's thinking, was just like, kids want to see other kids. That's why you got to make Batman a kid, because kids want to watch kids.
And he's a bit of a jerk.
He is a bit of a jerk.
Like John Connor.
He's a total sass mouth. Is Terry McGinnis? It's very much like, it's like, oh, make Dick Grayson's Batman now. That's kind of almost the vibe. But like he's more, particularly if the Dick Grayson you're coming off is Chris O'Donnell. Like it's like Terry McGinnis is infinitely better character than that.
Well, maybe you know what I'm saying. How much I love the. I'll just say this up front. I don't like the character.
Oh.
I don't like him. I'm not saying that's bad. It's a bad character, badly written. I don't like him.
Yeah. You're like, just at the end when the Joker's throwing the bombs on him, going, you're not Batman. You're there like, yeah, damn right, kid. Get the hell out of here.
I agree. I agreed with the Joker in that scene, which we will talk about. I was like, you know what? And he's got a couple of... The Joker has a couple of complaints about the guy that I had. Which I'll bring up as we go through the minutes here.
The Joker, in many ways, is the embodiment of the old fan base in this movie, as we'll get to. But like, I'll see if I could work on you, John. By the time we get to those scenes,
you might be able to.
I'll see if I can sway you, or as they would say in Neo Gotham, I'll see if I can sway you.
Oh God! Oh. No, but the thing that I don't like, I just think he's a jerk, and he's annoying, and he's quippy, and I'm like, no, I don't like that. But that doesn't make it bad. It's not a bad movie. In some ways, I may like it. It may be like top tier for me. for the Batman animated films, definitely.
Also, now you're coming to Mask of the Phantasm relatively fresh, because I remember you had a sort of perspective that was just like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's good. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's all right.
And then watching this, like, in relatively close succession, what do you think? Do you think this is like, what do you think? Is it as good? Would you think it's better? Like, what?
It's not as well made, and that's no knock on anyone. It's probably budget and time, because Mask of the Phantasm was made to be like at the last minute.
Yeah,
a,
but
a film.
They blew it up to be theatrical, whereas this was only ever intended for home video release.
Yeah, and it feels that way, right? But I probably had as much fun watching it. So it's not as well made, but I enjoyed it as much.
That's just weird. It's a weird word to use, though, for both those movies. Is fun. Because it's like, Mask of Phantom's like, I don't know if I'd call it fun.
Yeah, maybe not fun. Enjoyable? That sounds wrong as well.
I think even the Mask of the Phantasm has the benefits because, well, it's fun when the Joker's on screen. And then this movie, it's not even really fun when the Joker's on. It actually gets less fun when the Joker's on screen because he's such a malignant presence.
Well, yeah, unless you're me, who's a sick freak, who anytime you see him in this, I'm like, yes! Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but that was the thing, because I remember... watching the first 2 episodes, and you see like the other version of the Jokerz. Remember a little shout out to our Patreon coverage there too, because we did talk about the Jokerz very briefly on our Batman '89 comic coverage, because they adapted them into that medium. So you had like Party Man was a Jokerz.
That is brilliant naming though.
And they also had Dee Dee in there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I remember coming out and been just like, yeah, I guess they're biding their time, because like the thing you're curious about is like they got a gang called the Jokerz. What happened to Joker? And just watching a few episodes, like, no, they just don't bring it up. They never get into that. And then I obviously getting into like further into schoolwork, doing. I could pretend I had a much more active social life than I did. Let's say I was busy with other stuff.
Partying, because you're party man.
I was party man back then. I wasn't even cool enough to hang out with the Jokerz. I was too cool to hang out with the Jokerz. I was party man. I was people were too busy hailing the new king in town for me to even. They couldn't hear the show for all the hailing that people were doing. But no, so kind of got away from me. And I remember walking around Woolworths, as it was
Jesus!
back then.
Okay, yeah, that's a while back.
Yeah, and seeing on the shelf at one point the kind of now sort of quasi like iconic poster for this film, with Terry McGinnis Batman standing with the big green Joker face behind him, and being like, oh, they did it. They finally got around to addressing that. Oh, I'd like to watch that. But back then, I was like, I'm not gonna buy that. Like, I'm a quippy, pain in the ass teenager with floppy hair, a la John Connor or a Terry McGinnis.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I think much like John Connor, when I was growing up watching Terminator 2, I wanted to be John Connor. Now I watch it and I'm like, he's a bit annoying though.
Yeah, now you want to be Sarah. You want to be Sarah Connor these days, really.
I mean, yeah, who doesn't?
Although Sarah Connor's so traumatized, it's kind of like, well, maybe not her either. Like, I don't know if I'd want to be anybody in the Terminator universe.
Well, I feel her pain. I'm pretty traumatized too, so I can connect with that.
Maybe could I be the orange mullet kid? Like,
oh yeah, he's pretty rad. I also did want to be him because I had red hair. So
we find out in our commentary his name's Tim. And I've been like, no, that kid's not called Tim. But I guess it kind of works, though, because, like, yeah, his family gave him a really lame name.
So he had to be cool to get over the name.
Yeah, he had the emphasis, like, it's not working until he shaved that hair into that mullet.
Yeah.
And it all came slotting together. But yeah, and then particularly at this time, I was getting into my movie snob phase where I was very like, I only watch... Like, nowadays, I'd be like, oh, I only watch things from the Criterion edition. But back
whereas
then, I was
now you're like, I only watch Neil Breen movies.
Yeah, now it's just like, what? It's like, you can't remake The Toxic Avenger. The first 5 are a masterpiece. But so I had to be like, no, I'm not going to spend my time watching a Batman film. I've got, acclaimed Nicholas Rogue films to watch over here.
Mm-hmm. We've all been through a similar phase. It might be slightly different in its construction, but we've all had it.
But this movie came out, its original edition came out in 2000, And then, obviously, we'll get into why they didn't, et cetera, but like the uncut version that we are watching now didn't come out until 2002, I believe. And then, so around that time, end of 2002 into 2003, my dad finally got Sky Television, which is cable TV to our American friends. And one glorious period when he bought it, and he just didn't really know what he was doing. He was paying for all the movie channels.
He just took the lot, did he?
Yeah, he just took everything, and then it took him like a year to figure out, like, what the hell am I paying all this for? I should cut all this stuff out now. I was like, no, they're going away now. But whereas nowadays, like 20 years later, I'm the one telling him, you gotta get rid of the Sky TV, man. Like, you don't need any of this. Like, streaming stuff is the way forward. Piracy, et cetera, et cetera.
Show him how to torrent.
Yeah, basically, he was like, I'll torrent it for you. But around that time, then. And the movie premiere channels, they showed the uncut version of Return of the Joker. And even in my movie snob heyday, I was like, well, I'm gonna take some time out to watch that, because I did love that cartoon. I do love those characters. And yeah, remember sitting down to watch it like a Sunday afternoon when I had the house empty, and seeing the movie and been like, whoa, like. That was dark. That was pretty extreme.
Yeah.
It's kind of going against our remit that we originally pitched, where we were going forward, going to do like, so we got to the end of the Burton Schumacher ones. We ended on a light one. We'll do a dark one with Mask of the Phantasm. Then we'll go do the 60s movie. And now we're doing this in between, which is probably like the darkest of the Batman movies. Potentially, like, would you say it's more dark than Batman Returns? Because like Batman Returns is messed up, but like it's like torturing and like traumatizing and mutilating a child is like. I guess they throw a baby in the river in the first.
That's the
Returns.
thing, right? I think it's a weird one. This is. I don't think this is consistently dark. That's the difference. Whereas Returns, even in its light moments, it's tinged with the dark. This, I think, moves between them. Sometimes it's silly and fun. Sometimes it's dark.
Yeah.
It doesn't always maintain an undercurrent of like, what the hell? Because what you've just said, that's horrible. Right. But what we're watching in these 5 minutes, you're like, okay, it's like a Batman cartoon. Okay, fine.
It's a real thing. Like the Tim and Dini just couldn't help themselves though, because part of their remit for Batman Beyond was like, it's Batman for kids. Like, he's a kid in it, so make it more kid friendly.
Well, like, there's a kid involved, as you said. So.
Yeah, but even like the opening, they're like, okay, the teen centric kid Batman show. We'll do that. Like, lighten it up a bit. And then, like, the opening scenes of the first episode are like, Bruce Wayne nearly shooting a guy in the face when he's on the verge of defeat. Yeah. And been so horrified at his own actions, been like, I'll have to give up this now, because it's all coming back into, like, the gun that killed my parents, and the fact that I'm such a decrepit state as a person that I was nearly going to murder someone by shooting them flat in the face. And now, even with this movie, Bruce Wayne threatening to shoot someone with a gun takes on an even more relevant thing of like, that was probably going through his head too in the story of like, last time I saw someone getting shot, it was a pretty messed up kind of event. Maybe I should give up this Batman stuff. And then that's your opening gambit is like, for kids, right? Like, okay, that seems pretty intense. It couldn't just be like he gets bitten by a radioactive bat or something. Like, what is this?
Well, unless you've got more, that actually might segue us into the start, because you mentioned
probably should start.
For kids. Yeah. So these are minutes 1 to 5. The minutes start with the Warner Brothers.
Of course, minutes with a Z.
Oh, God, we might have to do that.
Should we change the show title to Batminids? Chunks of the Joker.
Right. Whether or not we do that, listeners, I mean, you're going to know. By the time you hear this, you'll know. But the minutes start with the Warner Brothers, and they end with the DD sisters.
Yeah, they do indeed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, what made me think of starting here was what you said. Because you brought up yet again, it's for kids. So we do begin with the Warner Brothers logo as usual, but it's different.
Yeah.
This music, you know, I know this is what they use for animation, but I can never get my head around it. It's always so odd to me when this appears before Batman, of all things. Yeah. And there's like Bugs Bunny, just like eating a carrot. Yeah. It's like, no, hang on. What?
It really is like there's no effort made here to blend, like none at all. Like again, Tim, we always cover like every season, I think. It's like Tim Burton had to really fight tooth and nail to get like the change the background color to the Shield, to segue into '89, and now like they do that kind of thing all the time. Have to say though, because I think even since the last season started, they've changed the Warner Brothers logo again.
It looks slightly different, yeah.
Yeah, but even because we both over the past,
hang on though, this is the family logo. Maybe that's always different.
Yeah, but just even like at the beginning of Dune, the other day, me and John both went out to see Dune this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Dune Part 2.
Yes.
And like even at the start of that, they had like the new Warner Brothers logo, and it's like it doesn't suit. Like it's just that like sunny shot of like the Warner Brothers lot, and then going into the Shield and the big bright sky. It's like just do something to like back in the 70s when it was just like black screen with a little white W. There you go. You can put that in anything and it'll work. But like,
I understand why they don't do it, right? Because they brand recognition, blah blah blah. But I think they should just have different logos for different types of film. Yeah. Like, what's your mood? You got like a dark movie? Have a look at these 5 we've got for dark movies. Here you go. Pick one of them. Yeah.
You should have done like that. Yeah, again, that old 70s logo was all red and black. It's like, Terry McGinnis's color scheme, red and black.
It would suit it perfectly. Or give the creators of the movies and stuff the free reign to always transition it. That could be their thing. But I get why they don't, again, because they want you to instantly go, it's Warner Brothers, okay.
Like I saw just last week, I watched for the first time a really fun old William Castle movie called Straight Jacket. With in the twilight of her career, Joan Crawford, where she's like you think she's an axe murderer in it. It's supposed to be a big movie twist, but like literally within the opening scene, you're like, you can predict the twist. That's coming. But the whole movie, you think she's Joan Crawford's like an axe murderer who keeps going around beheading people with an axe, and there's a twist. But at the end of that, they have the Columbia logo. The lady with the torch.
Yeah.
And she appears beheaded, and her head and her feet. And I'm like, there you go. That thing, a no-budget William Castle movie from friggin' 1962 or whatever it was can do that. Why can't they just go like, maybe we don't have the like the really silly like you're getting ready for Tiny Toon Adventures music coming on? Like it's like it doesn't suit this movie. What are you doing?
No, you're right. Like here, I mean, just have the logo. Don't have the music and have Bugs Bunny. Nothing against Bugs Bunny. It just doesn't work. It's so strange to me. It's so bizarre. The logo alone is fine because it looks superhero-y,
I'll give it one thing too to noted hack Chris Nolan. He's a guy who knows what he's doing with those logos. Because like at the beginning of all those Batman movies, the logos get you excited because it's all that. And you're just sitting, just like watching the DC logo come up in silence, and then just like everything's like. It's gonna start any second. Like it really, really gets you in. I can't imagine Chris Nolan been like, slap on at the beginning. He's like, no, I'm setting a tone, man. Like you gotta do this. You gotta be if you're coming in. But I guess the home video division were just like, nope, just slot that in at the beginning there. And,
for a fact that from Warner Brothers' perspective, this isn't up for debate. This goes at the start of the movie.
Yeah,
and the filmmakers are just okay, fine.
Although then we do get in. I think we started Mask of the Phantasm, of course, with the the CGI cityscape, and then we went into like an actual painting, the big red sky of Gotham. And as we were theorizing last season, Bruce Wayne presumably tried to do something about the red sky, start pumping stuff up into the air or something.
Chemically change it with chemtrails.
Yeah, he just got it to purple, and he's just like, close enough.
That'll do.
It's like, for whatever reason, Gotham sky is now permanently purple. Like it's just this all the time.
Let's assume it's capitalism run rampant. All these companies pumping stuff into the sky.
Maybe it was the grand villain party man who was just Prince came and tried to actually take over Gotham. He was the original Jokerz. There was obviously the Joker, and then there's a guy who tried to reclaim it. But it was Party Man. And then he was like, yes, my scheme is to make the sky purple.
And it'll rain purple rain.
Oh, there you go. Beautiful. It's like, now we should just do our own, like, uncommissioned, unsolicited Batman Beyond prequel. Like, it's just
called Party Man.
Just Party Man. And then you call it Batman Beyond Party Man : Purple Rain, but REIGN.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there we go, baby.
Oh, that'd be so good. That'd be so good.
It's all about the period of like 2 months where he held Gotham in his purpley, velvety grip.
I'm the new Prince of Gotham.
Oh, we can't get carried away talking about a thing that doesn't exist when we're desperately trying to start talking about a thing that doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, right into it again. It's amazing art style. Something I didn't mention before, I quite like how all the art style in general, but especially when you see the cityscape, very geometric. That's quite cool.
It's very, very Blade Runner-y.
Oh, yeah.
The building designs, too. And then I thought you would appreciate, John, maybe, was it just me? But, like, because we get one building in the background that just seems to say, nope.
Yeah.
Like,
nope.
It's kind of like, it's still, yeah, it's partially backwards writing, but it's just like, nope.
Looks
like,
a bit Russian, the writing.
Yeah, I was wonder if there's a story where it's just like, you know, some guy, like, they were trying to make the animator write, like, a stupid company name on, and he was just like, nope. And just wrote that instead, and they're like, that'll do.
Yeah, that's great.
We do get the Gotham shipping, you know, the big sign, and then the logo in the corner, which is, you know, a box with GS on it. But it really reminded me of the Nintendo GameCube logo.
Oh yeah, I thought it looked familiar. Oh my god.
Well, the GameCube, maybe they ripped it off from this. Noted hacks Nintendo GameCube over
Well, the
here.
GameCube was purple.
Oh, there you go. Now it all makes sense. Now it all makes sense.
Everything's connected, baby. I mean, eventually they brought out other colours, but the default one was purple. And I remember, actually, believe it or not, there was a lot of talk within Nintendo. I've read articles and interviews about this. Apparently, Nintendo of America were like, you can't release that in purple.
Yeah.
And Nintendo Japan were like, why? And Nintendo America said, well, no boy will buy a purple console. It's like gay. And the Japanese are just like, shut up.
That's true. Again, like, my favorite color is purple. Like, and my favorite color when I was a kid was purple.
Yeah,
and I know
it's
other
always been
kids.
my second favorite: green, and then purple, and then orange. They're the trio, you know.
You should be all excited for the return of the Joker then, because although when he shows up, that's one of my few beefs with the movie. That's what he's wearing when he shows up. But we'll get there. But no, just noted here: GameCube released in Japan, 14th of September. 2001.
Yeah,
So,
it's a good bit there.
I think someone was watching Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker back in 2000 and was like,
possible. It is possible.
It's the last minute. We gotta change everything to purple. This Vicky Vale from the '89 movie was running it and was just like, God, I love purple.
Okay, let's go in. So we go into the Gotham shipping. And we immediately see a character who you've mentioned before, but was new to me.
Yes.
Woof, a kind of hyena man.
And they're all these version of the Jokerz. They're all new to this film. Like there's been versions of the Jokerz have appeared throughout the show. Like those first 2 episodes, there's Jokerz.
Yeah, but they're not as prominent, are they? This is a lot more like, these are characters. You're going to remember these, and some of them I'll remember fondly. Some of them I hate with all of my being.
Oh, no, I'm curious to see who it's going to be.
Woof is fine. Woof, I mean, it's a bit silly. It's a bit over the top, but it's a cartoon. It's no sillier than some other Batman guys, you know? I
think it works within this universe, too, where you've already had, like, Man-Bat and stuff. It's like, a guy who's so into the Jokerz, he's a splicer, and he turned... himself into a hyena. There you go. That's fine.
I can get on board with that. Actually, did you listen to the commentary at all? Because they explain why Woof's a hyena.
Yeah, I think they do mention they originally didn't want him to be a hyena. They thought that was going to be too on the nose and stuff, and then But you go right ahead, John.
Well, I mean. Yeah, I thought you were going to go there, but you might have the same thing because they say it's a deliberate nod to Bud and Lou. The pet hyenas that Joker and Harley Quinn have in the animated series. And also the New Adventures or whatever it is.
And they pop up. Well, like one of them pops up in Birds of Prey. You're like, where's the other one? It's goddamn, you people can't do anything right, can you?
They're saving the other one now. But he kicks the crap out of a security guard, and that's when we see the other Jokerz with a Z. So okay, right. Ghoul.
Yeah.
I hate everything about him. I hate him.
Really?
I hate him. I hate him. He's a really bad version of the Scarecrow. It's awful. Actually, no, I'll give him one bit of praise. Have you noticed he talks like Christopher Walken?
Oh yeah, it's a deliberate Chris Walken impression.
Like that I was on board with. Okay, talk like Walken. Everything else, no. Get rid of it.
And it's so weird that they get him to do what? Because it's Ghoul is voiced by stalwart DC guy, and I believe this is his. No, actually, it would have been because he's in Batman Beyond as well, like the show. But Michael Rosenbaum, one of his first things he would have done for DC, and now he's just one of their guys. Like they go to Michael Rosenbaum all the time. He played the Flash in Justice League and stuff.
Oh, okay, well, I mean, he's obviously very good at voices because I like the voice.
And then most notably, you know Michael Rosenbaum, John, because he of course was Lex Luthor in Smallville. That guy.
That's him.
He's one of those guys too. Like some people, they just never. The shaved head never looks right on them. It never looked right on him. Now they got what's his name? New Lex Luthor, Nicholas, what's his face from Mad Max?
You're talking to the wrong person for names.
What's his name? Beast. Like what's
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can see him.
To see, I'm gonna have to Google it now. It's gonna kill me if I don't. Nicholas.
He's
Nicholas
Holt. I
That's
like his felt look. Oh, Nicholas Holt. Okay.
Nicholas Holt. But you see the shots now because I've done the old, not proper reveals, but as of recording, we've got Mrs. Maisel and Guy from Pearl as the new Superman and Lois, and then shots of Nicholas Holt with the shaved head. I've seen him with a shaved head before in Mad Max, and didn't suit him then. And now
I
you
thought
see
he
him
looked all right in Mad Max, but he's covered in like all kinds of other stuff,
Yeah. And then see him just a guy with a shaved head. Like him with just a bald head is like, nah, it doesn't suit you, man. It just doesn't. Yeah. So, but Michael Rosenbaum is just one of those guys. It's like when you see him with hair, you're like, that looks right. And then when he's bald, you're like, I've seen him more bald than with hair because he was in Smallville for that long, but never settled with me.
I am only just getting used to Billy Corgan bald. And when did he shave his head? Like the late 90s?
Yeah. You're really clinging on there. Jesus Christ.
I know. I don't even think of like long hair Corgan though. Early years. I always think of short hair Corgan.
He's just going like, I'm still only getting used to Freddie Mercury having a mustache now.
Some people you just can't accept it. I don't know.
Yeah. But I will say though, because Rosenbaum, I think the first thing he did for these guys was playing a member of the Jokerz in a Batman Beyond episode. And what was his name? His name was like
Tenenbaum.
Yeah. Terminal. That was his name. He was a Joker called Terminal. And he was also, I remember watching it, like, not realizing it was the same voice actor, because I've watched, all Batman Beyond again. And not realizing it was Rosenbaum. And then been like, oh, that guy looks a lot like the Scarecrow. That, like, Terminal, the character. It's like, hey, he's a Joker. He's a Joker-based guy, but he's wrapped in this straitjacket, which is very like the Nolan Scarecrow, of course, when he showed up, at the end of Batman Begins and stuff. Again, I wonder where Chris Nolan got that idea. And I was like, yeah, and then so then to find out that Ghoul, who is very blatantly just based on the Scarecrow, is voiced by the same guy. So it's like, oh, why did they just make him Terminal? To say it's the same, why did they have to be a new guy? And then I think it was because they had Rosenbaum, and he's very good as Terminal. He's very creepy. He's very understated. He's much more like the kind of like almost like a Heath Ledger-y Joker. He's just very somber and very serious. But of course, Ledger, did his own stuff with that. But I think then when they brought Rosenbaum back in, because they're already gearing up to be like, yeah, we're gonna do Justice League and all this stuff. They obviously loved this kid, and then they'd heard him do a Chris Walken impression, and we're just like, do that.
So it's it is 100% just that. It's not just us speculating.
No. It was 100% just a Chris Walken impression. My headcanon is, of course, that this is the great-great-great-grandson of Max Schreck.
Yeah, okay. You're winning me over with that then.
Yeah, that's why he's got the blonde hair and stuff too. You know, Shrek had the white hair, but then this is sort of what they're getting there, and it's like he's kind of got a zombie skeletonish thing going on, in tribute to the charred corpse of his late great grandfather.
See, I say you're winning me over, but I also feel he's like a bit racist.
What to Walken? It's like, what?
No, because he says to his his good pal here, Woof, when he attacks the security guard, he goes, he should have said heel. That feels a bit. I know. Hang on, he's not a dog. Come on, he's your mate. He's your mate.
Woof, you dog.
you dirty dog.
Well, maybe Wolf likes it though. He voluntarily became a hyena, so he's just like, I want you to acknowledge my hyena-ishness.
I suppose it's like a kink thing. He's like a pup.
Yeah.
There you go. He likes it. He likes being told to heel and stuff.
And he's just like, and Ghoul is just like, I like the sound. Like people could constantly talk about how much like Chris Walken I sound. That would be. Although it is weird though, because like that's weird. Well, as we will be talking about, if they ever publish the rest of the damn issues on Patreon, we're going through the second run of the '89 comic, where they have Jeff Goldblum as the Scarecrow, and of course, all the time at this point. All the rumors would have been abound about Jeff Goldblum or Nicolas Cage playing the Scarecrow. And Chris Walken was already in a Batman movie. So why have they gone, here's a character based on the Scarecrow, and we got the voice of Chris Walken. Why not do like a Nick Cage impression or like a, or a Jeff Goldblum? Like Jeff Goldblum is one of the most easily imitatable voices in the universe. Not easily imitate. You can't sound exactly like him, but you can do a Goldblum impression, and people will know who it's supposed to be.
As long as you get the sort of rhythm right and stuff.
Yeah, it's very easy to sort of like do a bad version of Jeff Goldblum, basically. So I thought that was weird, and also the fact that they've had two Jokerz based on the Scarecrow now, and then there's like throw in one, a couple of question marks on him or something. Or like, why are they so centric to the Scarecrow all the time? It's like. Fair weather Joker fan? Like what is this? Like is Scarecrow, does he the new hip villain that's cool to like is it's like no, everyone's into the Joker, but like I'm cooler because I'm into like a little more obscure villain.
Yeah, not the mainstream guy that you've seen on TV.
It's gonna be like Joker's dressed up as like crazy quilt and stuff, who are like, I'm into like a way like you wouldn't get it. Like you have to like really know villains and stuff.
Hipster bad guys.
Yeah, totally. That's 100% what they should be doing.
The hipsters.
The hipsters. Yeah. And it's like one's coming out then with like half a blue face and just like, oh no, you wouldn't know this guy. It's like he was like the district attorney. Everybody knows Two-Face. Like, all right,
that's so obvious, man.
Like I bit in Ghost World where she does like the green hair and stuff, and then the guy just takes the piss out of her. And she instantly goes.
Sorry, go on.
No, just the fact like it gets to her so much, it just goes and washes it all out and stuff. For
I'm always like, torn on that because on one hand I'm with her, like it's a proper look, she's doing it proper, but on the other hand it's like. Actually, no, I'm going back on it. I'm just on his side. The guy, it's funny, but it's also like, leave her alone, you piece of crap.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's a flat out like anti-Semite and stuff as well. Yeah. Like he's just a bad guy, but I guess it's just like it's a little character thing to indicate that despite all her bravado and sort of surly attitude, Ian is quite sensitive. So she's just like, if someone comes and makes fun of her look, she will be like, I don't want to do it anymore now.
It does. But also, you're teasing me to do Ghost World Minute again, which I've talked about for ages. Let's not go there.
I mean, we're nearly at the end of Miami. That'd be such a drastic change from Miami Minutes to Ghost World Minutes.
Jesus Christ. Maybe. It's on. It's in a pile of potentials. We won't go there because we'll start 3 hours.
Pile of potential.
Consult the pile of potentials. But speaking of a pile, there's a pile of other villains. Because the crooks then run outside and we see more of them.
Yeah.
Now we get a couple here I really like. Now you're gonna have to explain to me the naming conventions though. DD.
Yeah.
They're individually called DD as well as being DD as a group, aren't they? They're not D and D.
It's not. There's no difference in spelling. It's not like It's transcending Tia and Tamara, because Tia and Tamara is like, both begin with T and I, right? And then it's like, no, Dee Dee is just like they're the same person basically.
Yeah, they are like conjoined twins who aren't conjoined, aren't they?
Yeah,
and I thought they were great. They're one of my highlights of this. When I first saw them, I thought, oh, they're going to be the worst bit. They're going to be silly and stupid. They are silly and stupid, but in a great way.
Yeah,
they're fantastic.
I think Dee Dee out of this, I think they are the kind of like the thing that specifically comes from this film that's like the most sort of kind of become the most iconic, like because Terry McGinnis and stuff that's from the show, like that's and I don't know, there's certainly memorable imagery that comes up later in it, but I don't know if many people are trying to bring back the Joker-fied child or anything like that.
I want that back. That was amazing.
Yeah, but I think though, like, because there's such a good like, I don't think they did this with this in mind. Although Paul Dini did also say of the show that it was only really commissioned to sell toys.
Well, I mean, like most Batman things. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. But like, it would feel now much in the way like what do you call her? Punchline, the new Joker henchwench, just like sort of replaced Harley because like, Harley's a good guy now. Yeah, and one of the big complaints was like she feels like she's been designed for cosplay. Yeah, it's just a character design. It's like, oh, you can dress as this character now at conventions. I don't think that's what they were doing with Dee Dee, but it does feel like, oh, this is a character. These are characters ripe for cosplay.
Yeah, 1,000%. I would be up for it because it's I don't know. There's nothing wrong with being sexy in your cosplay, but it's almost that's overtaken the cosplay. Yeah, the sexiness is number one, and this is like a good look, but it's also a weird blend of like, well, you've got your body out, but it's also not really sexy. You look like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah, it's kind of. I do love it just as a look too. It's like Raggedy Ann mixed with like '60s go-go kid, like the big boots and the floppy hat and stuff. It's like it's a bit twiggy. It's a bit like. Yeah, there's great looking characters.
Very cool, very cool.
Did you catch who does the voice of Dee Dee as well?
Yeah, that blew my mind. I didn't catch it till it was done. I never would have guessed who it was when I was watching it.
It's so because she would have been. If people don't know, it's Melissa Joan Hart doing the voice of Dee Dee. It's weird to be like the voice of Dee Dee was again it's two people, but it's like it's the voice of Dee Dee. Like it's the singular voice. I kind of
love that though, the way they're called Dee Dee. It's not D and D.
Yeah.
No, Dee Dee, and it can be referring to one of them or to both of them at the same time.
Yeah, and I love even the first little interaction when Bonk, as he comes thundering up.
Oh, he's another one we're going to see.
Yeah. But their first line is like, he sure has a tender touch, Dee Dee, tender as a moose, Dee Dee, and just a little like. Yeah, it's Melissa Joan Hart just doing a really good job there, the playfulness in the voice, and just like. It's a side of her we don't really get to see Melissa Joan. Actually, no. People get to see a lot of Melissa Joan Hart these days. It's just in a terrible sitcom that I would never watch. But like, yeah, back in the day, this would have been at the height of like Sabrina and stuff as well. So she would have been like a kind of big get for them at the time, which is weird because they don't really do much. Well, they do a lot with they get bigger actors in this that they don't do nearly anything with, which is bizarre. As we'll get to down the line, but yeah, there's villainous Melissa Joan Hart was just like, yeah, she does a good job in this. I thought well cast in this role.
Absolutely fantastic. Loved her.
Also, a weird like flash forward to like the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, where they had a whole storyline about like Sabrina having like essentially there being two Sabrinas.
Yeah,
and her like twinning with herself and like swapping between. What they call like it wasn't the show they didn't. I think it was just called Hell, right? They just went to hell all the time.
Oh yeah, it was just straight up hell.
Yeah. Because I always want to call it the Other Realm, but that's this Melissa Joan Hart version where they call it the Other Realm. But yeah, so it's almost a weird thing where like I'm pretty sure they would have done episodes of like the Melissa Joan Hart Sabrina where there was two of her. But I remember Kiernan Shipka's Sabrina. That's when I was really sold on her playing as that part because like she was good, but then. When Kiernan Shipka got to play two Sabrinas, she was having so much fun. That was just like, yeah, I'm enjoying this now because she's clearly enjoying playing these two guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe go back now with that knowledge. Did they ever slip in a DD reference to like Kiernan Shipka dressed up in this outfit or something, talking to herself?
You would have picked up on it. You're the master.
There's like, someone, Sabrina, go and do your homework on the double. The two of them saying it at the same time.
I can never hear on the double, though, without thinking about what's the line in Pokemon where it's like, here, what is it? Here's trouble, make it double. What do they say?
Prepare for trouble,
Prepare for
make
trouble.
it double. Yeah,
that's it.
DD's also kind of a slight Team Rocket vibe about them as well. Actually,
I could see DD being part of Team Rocket.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned some of the other guys. You mentioned Bonk. Yeah. There's also Choco. Which, I mean, the names sound ridiculous at first, but when you think about it, you're like, oh, well, okay, they're kind of like clown names. So they fit the Joker vibe. Okay, cool. Because you could imagine that at a circus, couldn't you? Choco the Clown.
And also, Bonk, of course, been a reference to the Jack Palance detective show from the 70s, Bronk.
Of course, that's exactly what they were going for.
Deep cut callback to Carl Grissom there.
Everything's connected.
It would be great if it was just like the guy one of them's doing Chris Walken and the other guy's just doing Jack Palance. So.
Imagine that. Imagine like someone saying, "Oh, where did you get the inspiration for your voice?" Jack Palance.
Very specifically Jack Palance in Bronk as well.
I didn't quite know what they were talking about here on the commentary again. The producers said that, they talked about the Raggedy Ann makeup, but they also said the clothes are reminiscent of a fashion popular among manga fans in Japan.
I can imagine this being like, yeah.
Well, yeah, but the Japanese love all cool fashion. So, but what specifically are they talking about? Because I've got a lot of books of Japanese fashion downstairs. I've got all the fruit stuff, all of them. There's a Gothic Lolita spin-off and everything. Got that. I can't think in particular what look this is in Japan. It's not Gungaro. So,
it probably means that one of them at one time seen a girl in Japan dressed like this in the street. And we're like, there you go. That's what they're all dressing like, right? It's like they dress like a lot of things over there. They're very creative. So.
Very, very much so. I could see people being into the look. Absolutely, you're right. It's just.
I mean, to be honest, you're saying it's not all that sexy.
No, I'm not saying it's not sexy, but you've got your body out and stuff, so that's, but then pairing it with that makeup makes it a very interesting combination. But then again, these days people are into clown girls. Yeah. Or is the clown girl fad gone now?
I don't know. I think Clussy was a thing when we were doing Mask of the Phantasm. Maybe it's moved on now. They're on Scarecrow now. Or something.
No, people only like having sex with worm popcorn buckets now. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's the craze of.
They were not on sale at the cinema when I went.
No, but even in talking about DD, say like I've got animators are just shameless, but like paused here, 1 minute and 5 seconds. The DD in the foreground is posed in a very sexy manner with a butt crack visible. It's just like, yeah, it's yep. We all know these animators predominantly, dweeby white men, which is hate to generalize, but we've seen interviews with enough of them now.
And now the listeners know you're into Clussy. That's fine.
I think I mentioned last season. Like I do know my friend Danica. She is a burlesque clown girl, and she says it's done a lot. It did a lot for her. She's like in a long-term relationship now, but it did a lot for her sex life. And she's like, yeah, but I pulled. As the clown.
Leave the nose on.
Yeah, just saying she had a guy like at the end of their tryst. He was just like in tears of happiness, and all the clown makeup all smeared over his face because he's like, "This is I've wanted this for so long. I never thought I'd get it." And it's like, I think with me it might be more of a I didn't realize I wanted this, but the fact that he's been like, in all my 30 years, I've been seeking this out, and here it is. It's finally happened. I never thought it would, but now it's finally happened.
Well, people are into lots of stuff, Yeah, but would people be into this, right? The commentary also said that the DDs were originally meant to wear red and white harlequin suits and hats with red markings on their face. Would people be into that as much? I think it's too on the nose. It's too obvious because there's a bit of a twist later.
No, I think it's better they kept it this way.
Yeah, I agree.
That sign
Plus, we've
posted.
seen that. It's been done.
Yeah. No, it's no, I'm fully in supporting of the red and white. Because, again, that's Harley-ish, but it's not whacking you over the head with it.
Yeah, it's reminiscent enough without just being like, it's her outfit in different colours.
Yeah. It's also kind of like... we want to be in this cool criminal street gang, but we also don't want to be like paying tribute to because they're still juvenile kids. So like we don't want to be like dressing up like our grandmother.
Yeah, slain.
Yeah. So we'll do it, but we're like, well, no, we'll do another thing. But like, I mean, we'll be getting into like the potential upbringing of Dee Dee, or the Dee Dees, or the Dee Dees, as we go on. But it's like, yeah, it must have been a weird childhood that those characters had. But yeah, then we get into some of the proper future tech, because they're going to steal this thingamajig. Of course, yeah, we do get a little bit of from Bonk, where he says "slag it," which is one of my favorite elements of. I don't know if you picked up on it as much in this movie alone, John. But they did come up with their own slang for Batman Beyond.
Yes.
So yeah, they do use slag a lot. As like slag it, or like, oh, I'm slagging that off, and because the whole thing, the use of slag, which in America might have been like, what? But over here, it's just like, it's this old "shut up, you slag."
Yeah, I don't even know if we could really say it properly. If we were talking about it in an English context, we'd have to beep it out. But we're not. We're talking about it in an American way, so it's allowed to stay in.
It's the new saying "dick" for Dick Grayson. It's like when we're calling him a dick, we have to bleep it. But when we're just saying dick, it's okay. And then so if I'm saying like, oh yeah, he says slag it, that's fine. But then if I do a like East End pub owner voice and go, "Shut up, you slag," I have to beep that because of the intention of it.
It's still my favourite thing that Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols did. And he did this after the initial run of the band. It was when they came back in the 90s and then he carried on. His guitar strap, it just says "slag" down. And I'm like, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I wonder if like, I'm assuming they went for like, they'd have a whole bunch of different phrases as we'll get to as the show goes on. Like one of our previous guests, Luke Mears, he's got a podcast all about the Batman animated universe, and it's called Totally Shui. Because they always, when something's cool, like in Heathers, when they'd say, "Oh, how very." Yeah. In this, they say "very sway" and stuff like that. So that they're not all English terms, but I like to think that him saying "slag it" and them going for a very English kind of thing is a little reference to like A Clockwork Orange, because like the whole roaming color, dress and theme coordinated, insanely violent street gangs who are much more stylish and cool looking than any street gangs in reality. Like, so that's my thing with A Clockwork Orange, is like, yeah, they look cool, those guys and all those outfits.
It is a good look.
And then you see actual juvenile delinquents, and they're all just going around with hoods, and they just look crap. Like, come on, put a bit of effort into it, would you? But
I know, they never get into dance-offs or click their fingers anymore,
We gotta bring it. We have to infiltrate the youth, John, and bring it all back.
Yeah.
We have to be of the Joker to them. We're just coming out to the Crocky crew in Liverpool and talking about like, it's time to give this town a wedgie again.
We can terrify them by slamming their head into a pencil.
But yeah, I'm choosing to believe that the English patois is a little like, it's referencing A Clockwork Orange, which is a very English movie. Despite being directed by an American man, but it's a very English film.
But he did seem to get it. He did seem to understand English stuff without it feeling forced.
Yeah. And plus, I would say, like, the slang in Batman Beyond is better than because Clockwork Orange, it just gets ridiculous. Like,
it's basically all just where was it? It's Eastern European.
I think it's partially based on Russian.
No, but there's one place, it's somewhere near Russia that it's literally just lifted. Was it Serbia or Czech? It was one of them, because a mate of mine's like, "Oh yeah, I just understand everything they're saying." Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, so it's kind of lost on you then that it's meant to sound weird." And he's like, "Yeah, it doesn't sound weird at all."
But yeah, some of it sounds so infantile, like eggy wags for eggs. It's like, well,
I think that's meant to make him sound kind of cute and like silly and like, ooh, eggy wags, ooh. Yeah. A bit jokery, actually.
Oh yeah, if Joker said it, then yeah, totally. But like, yeah, there's a couple of terms in it, but I'm just very like, it's too. Because then they do all the old English stuff, like, "Oh, how art thou?" and all this other stuff. It's like, I'm good. But Clockwork Orange, it's just like sort of like very artsy surrealist version of the future, I guess. Yeah. So it's like, well, I just have to accept that.
But I'm not a fan of it.
Oh, I do like the film, but it's not as much. It had a much more of an allure back when I was a teenager because it was banned at the time and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, no, I think it's good, but for what it is, but it's not like Kubrick's best or anything. But no, I think keeping it to little things, just like Shui and Slag It and things like that, are like, no, that's fine. That's not like Viddy Well, Little Brother, and all this sort of stuff.
Shui sounds like it could be real because I mean, you might go, oh no, it's silly, but listen to what slang's come out in just the last like 2 or 3 years from the kids. What the hell's this skibbity toilet thing?
Skibbity toilet.
I don't even know what it is. They've got all kinds of stuff like this where I'm just like, what? And like mogging.
Yeah. See, I'm still even getting used to like no cap and all that stuff.
I'm still getting used to that. I can't wrap my head around that.
It's like, people are still saying bay, right? It's like, that was like 7 years ago, man. Get with the times, Grandpa.
I just found out they've changed what the acronym LFG means. Because when I was growing up, that's very explicitly looking for group. That's what you say in video games. You go LFG. And that made its way into the real world. Like, I'm looking for someone to team up with me, LFG. But no. Now it means let's F and go.
No.
Because I was like, why is everyone saying looking for group?
Well, but yeah, I guess it does, But it actually kind of a little bit dates it, though, because like totally Shui, or very Shui, borderline sounds like something Cher Horowitz would say.
1,000%. That's what I was thinking of. Yep.
It's almost not futuristic enough, really.
They need to say fetch.
Yeah. Well, not the irony to find out, like, no, in the Batman Beyond universe, Gretchen Wieners really took off as a person. Yeah. And everybody loved the Sway.
That's why it's an alternate reality.
But yeah. So anyway. They take these things, these big lifter ships with kind of like forklift grabbers.
Yeah.
And then take this big pot of a dish. The coloring of them and the little actual mechanism, I thought was supposed to be a nod to like the lifters in Aliens.
Okay, I could see that, totally.
But and also, it really reminded me very specifically of Thundercats, which is, I don't know if we can track down who designed this vehicle, but they worked on Thundercats. I wouldn't be surprised because, like, again, I used to watch that all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I remember we had a video of it in the house where there was a bit where Lion-O jumped off a pirate ship into the ocean, and then they just set the ocean on fire, basically. So the water would heat up so much that he couldn't take it, and then Panthro comes in and saves him. And a ship very similar to this. And kind of comes down and lifts him up with a kind of similar device. And so I was watching this, I was like, I know that ship from something. And I was like, oh, it's very Thundercats-ish. And then also, I think more likely it's supposed to be the specific yellow is supposed to be like, it's like the lifter in Aliens.
I didn't consider that. That's interesting. Yeah, I like it. Because of what we see in a minute, the only thing I could think of was, dare I say, we're about to see a scene coming up that reminds me of Attack of the Clones.
Oh. Actually, no. Even the red light in the top and like the little thing above Bonk's head. That's totally the lifter from Aliens.
I think you're onto something. Yeah.
And it's marked at the side LH. So I don't know what load heft. I don't know what the hell that would stand for.
Load heavy.
It
could just be the company who make it.
I'm sure that's what it is, but yeah. But you usually throw in like a little thing and be like, powers, whatever. They do something in reference to something established in the universe.
Yeah, it's probably just the initials of the guy who drew it.
Yeah, probably is. They could have been a rival company to the Nope people, and they just wrote "Yep" at the side.
That's the way to get in there. We're positive. And
then what happens if you open up too much? People just come in and rob you all the time.
So as they fly these little Star Wars-y vehicles, we discover they are stealing. That's why they're here. No surprise there, really. Yeah. We don't know what it is they're robbing yet, but that is when we get the grand entrance. Batman himself, sort of, is here.
And
he swoops down, well, as much as this Batman can swoop.
Well, I think he does a lot of swooping, Terry McGinnis. It's one of his big moves is the swoop.
It's not the same kind of swoop, though, because he's got wings. He doesn't have a cape.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you come into this actually, I'm assuming you've at least seen pictures of
Yes,
Batman Beyond the years. But like sitting down to watch this guy for the first time, what did you make of the suit? What was the verdict?
Specifically the suit. We have to go there. It's the elephant in the room, isn't it? We've got to talk about it.
Yeah.
The complete redesign. It might shock you to learn I kind of like it, considering I don't like the character. I'm with the Joker, where I think the lack of a cape sucks and the ears are dumb.
Oh.
But, because he says that later and I'm on his side, totally, 1,000%.
Yeah.
But the colours pop. I love it. Like the bold red beaming out and just the general sort of cut of it and everything. It's very cool. It's very different, but without straying away. You still know it's Batman.
Yeah.
Granted, it does need a cape, but he's got wings. Okay, fine.
I wonder if this Bruce Wayne's little tribute to Harley Quinn when he was designing the shoot. It's like, well, she's dead, I think. So yeah, now I can finally do the red and black color scheme of my dreams.
I didn't want to infringe on her thing, you know.
Yeah, it's like, if I showed up in red and black, she'd be like, "Oh, Batman, I didn't know you had it." I'd be like, "Oh my god, shut up!"
Yeah, I'd never get it to stop then. Oh, geez.
Yeah, but now her and the Joker are dead. I think I can finally let loose with the color scheme of my dreams.
No, I really like the visuals of the character, what he looks like. Shorten the ears and I'm more on board. And yes, the character is a bit insufferable and annoying and I want to smack him, but you know.
I think this is all his dialogue in this sequence too. Like, isn't it a school night and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, no. See, I've written that down as one of my annoying points.
But you know what that is, though? That's Buffy Summers.
I know, but
that's quipping with vampires. That's all like her coming out. And from watching that show back now, as difficult as it is now because of his bad reputation, but like, Josh Whedon and crew, the people he hired, they were a bit snappier with like snarky teen dialogue. Some of it's ridiculous, where it's just stuff that teenagers would never say.
Yeah, but that's why it's fun.
Yeah. Whereas this one is a bit like, I guess the insults are a little lame. He's a teenager, He's not the greatest wit in the world.
That's true, but I don't like teenagers.
Yeah,
I didn't like him when I was one, so it is annoying. Yeah. But again, there's so many positive points, and he's less annoying in this than he was in the show that I watched.
Yeah. He does grow in the show quite a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
there is an arc, as he he does grow up. He does become a lot more. He's sensible and less of a prick, basically.
I think it helps make him less of a prick because he's got rocket boots.
Yeah.
That surprised me. I didn't expect him to be R2-D2.
Oh, I would have said Iron Man, but I suppose it is very R2-D2.
Yeah, but you're speaking to someone who only watches Star Wars and Batman's.
Like, again, predating Attack of the Clones. They were swiping it off from Batman Beyond.
Hack.
Yeah, it's No, I will say I think we can both. If one thing we can shake hands on, I do also miss the cape. Me, you, and the Joker can all go like a formal handshake over a table.
Well, as cool as he looks, it completely changes his silhouette.
Yes,
which maybe is a deliberate choice of like, well, this Batman is going to be svelte, he's going to be sleek. Okay, a bit like the T800 to the T1000, complete change of silhouette. So I get it. But I just love a cape, so I'm kind of torn. And the cape added a sort of vampiric element to him.
Yeah, no, the cape was it just made everything so much cooler. The fact that it just made it much more mysterious. Yeah, it was an element. He doesn't need a cape because he can literally turn invisible. Yeah, like things like this, and it's just always a little bit like, I like the. Like I've said, a couple of times in the show, I'm not a big James Bond fan, but a lot of James Bond stuff is ostensibly kind of like Batman. Only he's just wearing a tuxedo. And I've been like, if he had a cape, maybe I'd be much more on board with this.
I guarantee there's a lot of fan art where they've put a cape on him, and I bet it looks amazing, right? But being sort of contrarian to what we're saying, I'm going to just say, I don't think the character, though, would wear a cape.
James Bond?
No, this... Terry.
Oh, Terry McGinnis.
I don't think Terry would wear a cape.
Yeah.
Even though I think it would look really cool. So
I
I'm
guess
sort of
maybe
torn.
I don't know if it's in a post and well, I guess The Incredibles probably came out after this as well, but like just that thing of like, oh, a cape's a liability too. It'll get you killed in these kind of situations. So it's kind of more fit. The fact that he doesn't need a cape, like Bruce was only using it for the purposes of intimidation and hiding and stuff, whereas Terry can literally like, well, he's super strong and he can turn invisible, so he doesn't need that. It's like it's more efficient or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. And then it's like, well, what about gliding? It's like he's got little pop-up glider wings. He's fine. And it's like, well, I like the theatricality of it.
Same.
You know?
So, but that's why I'm so torn though, because then when you see him fly in a minute with the wings extended, that looks really cool. The way the underside's red and everything.
So we don't go on too long. We probably should tear through the remainder of the.
Yeah, you got some editing to do.
So we got like some incredible shots in this. Actually, like the show always looked good, but like they are putting in more of an effort here. So first bit I really liked is when Terry engages his gravity boots or his like magnet boots because he's on the end of the lifter thing. It starts spiraling out of control. And Dee Dee shot something like, Bronk, be careful. I keep calling him Bronk. Bronk. Bonk, be careful. And Terry just magnetizes himself to the front and just stands with the arms folded. And like the background behind him spinning crazy out of control. And he's just like, yeah, Bonk, be careful. Like he's just so cool with it and stuff. I like that. Like that might come across as a very like snarky teenage thing, but I thought like he's Batman's cool. Like he's at this point he is much more settled into the character, and he's just like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm having fun being Batman. Well,
it's hard not to be cool when you've got magnetic boots.
Yeah,
because that's just one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like, and it's new and futuristic, but it doesn't feel too futuristic. It feels like a gadget you might have in like the Arkham games.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And there's a bit where you're like walking upside down or something with your magnet boots.
There's a bit actually coming up in this. It's very, very Arkhamish. We'll get that. But so we do then get an introduction to the wings as Terry finally dismounts the spiraling lifter. Chucko starts shooting at him with the laser cannon. Sounds very Star Wars-ish.
Yeah. The
laser cannon. And then, we got a new Batarang flung out. He doesn't need to reach for the utility belt anymore. It's just like all there to hand. It's like just coming out of his wrists or whatever.
Yeah, it comes from somewhere.
Yeah. And comes down. They have we get into some very lengthy fist fight material with all the Jokerz. And it's all very well done, I have to say. The actual fighting looks incredible in terms of animated fighting. Like, the amount of effort put into it is like, it's really top-notch stuff. Which is criminal in that this was a lot of this was cut in the original release.
Oh, really? This was all the cut stuff?
Oh, I'll not get into all the cut stuff.
I know some stuff. Like I know the Joker's end and things.
All the big stuff. But there was a lot of stuff throughout the whole movie that they changed. And I'll get into the whole. There's actually much more of a reason why do it than you'd think. But I'll save that for a future episode. But yeah, a lot of this fight was cut, like just hacked to death.
I think you've got to start with like a long action sequence like this, though. That's how you start a Batman movie, right?
It's just so weird because then it's like the polar opposite of where we're coming from with Mask of the Phantasm, where it open with them and they're finally able to like, people are actually shooting at him, and they gets to like friggin' crush them under a table and all this kind of like remember that guy's hand twitching and Batman just like thumping the table on the way past and stuff, and they're like, we get to do all this stuff, and here we now see them doing it in this version, but when they actually did that and delivered the original cut. Like the WB Kids people were just like, no, what the hell is this? We can't release that. And so they cut a lot of it. Like some stuff I can kind of understand, but also it's just like, but you just come on, like
don't cut stuff. Come on, I know. Oh, it's for kids. I don't care.
Yeah, but like, one of the best shots of the whole movie is that 360 camera angle around Terry as he's just taking them all on, and it's a really dynamic shot of like him. Very, very, Matrixy at the time. It's actually kind of a weird callback to the opening titles of the show.
Yeah, which really are cool amazing. Can I just say?
Oh, we'll be talking about those opening titles. Like we gotta break those down. Those are fantastic.
We'll do a whole episode on that.
Pretty much, like the opening credits to this movie aren't all that much. So like, yeah, why not? We'll just get into them then. But yeah, so the amazing shot of like that 360 thing clearly took a lot of time choreographing and effort to animate that.
Oh yeah,
entire thing cut. Just took that out of the movie. The shot of the kind of trickstery shot where the two DDs are like looking in fear at Batman and like quivering, and then you find out like no, they're just pretending to be really scared so they can get the drop on him. Cut that. Because they're like, we can't have frightened people on the floor cowering at Batman. It's like,
come on, he's supposed to be terrifying.
Yeah, the new movie literally opens with like a member of the public seeing Batman and be like, please don't hurt me and stuff like that. It's like, he's supposed to be scary. So, and the fact that they're not genuinely scared, the next second it shows that they were lying about it. So, and then they do the one thing that Terry McGinnis and most characters in Batman Beyond never get over. They never like electricity proof anything.
That caught me off guard, right? When Dee and Dee they tase him.
Yeah.
Because I assumed his suit would like have a kind of built-in protection against that kind of thing. Not only is he Batman, he's future Batman.
Yeah. Of course, Ghoul probably having, a little bit of trauma because his great-great-grandfather was, of course, killed by a taser from Selena Kyle kissing him in the mouth, and then whatever she did there, pulled out, like, she killed him with a taser, but then also a big, giant freaking wire full of like live electricity, too, I guess.
I'm loving this headcanon.
But yeah, like I think that happens like every other episode. It's just like, we need to take out Terry somehow. Somebody electrocutes him. It's like, you think Bruce would be back in the Batcave going, I really ought to update that suit. Huh?
Yeah, put some dampening thing in that he can't get shocked, and then that would scare the bad guys. Like, oh my God, we can't tase him. He's a monster.
Yeah. It's like, I think, though, Terry also uses it in other people. I think like he takes out giant monsters and stuff. Like, well, I can't shoot him, but I can electrocute him. Which, of course, that'd be ironic. I think the edited ending of the Joker. It was just like, well, what do we do to him instead? Electricity. Like, that's always the way forward, I guess.
It solves everything.
Like, those people saw Return of the Jedi back in 1983, and we're like, I guess that's the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody. Of course, this movie then, like, the second Mark Hamill movie to feature the initials ROTJ as well.
Oh, so. Yeah. I noticed that when I was, getting the video files together, because I put them as ROTJ, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you sent me the folder. I was like, John, you idiot.
You got the wrong movie.
And I was like, oh, no, I actually watched it. I had a whole rant. I was trying to get you on the phone for hours, but you never answered your damn phone.
That was deliberate.
Yeah. But yeah, then, so... great, 360 shot. Then I'm just gonna talk to them about them as if they're a singular person.
I love the confusion that adds to it. Do it.
They come in, and this is great. The whole like beating the crap out of Batman through like the power of handstands and like go-go boots.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so silly. It's just so like as dark as this movie gets. It's like future, cyberpunk Gotham. Pure 60s Batman kind of stuff. Just
Maybe it's a nod to that. I mean,
sure
they didn't mention that in the commentary or anything.
I think, because those guys, though, like Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, all those fellas, their entry point to Batman was the 60s TV show. Yeah. So they're just like, we love that too. It's just, that's not what we're doing. But I guess we're kind of doing a little bit of it now. So this goes on for a little bit. I love everything about Dee Dee's fighting style. Like,
yeah, she's the best villain.
Yeah, it's a little bit, I don't have to go throughout the rest of the show. Are they better than Sugar and Spice? I think they might be, because they actually do stuff. Like, Sugar and Spice were amazing. But...
I think Sugar and Spice might have an even better look, but they're not really do much. So
yeah, they're a great gimmick. It's just that they didn't get to utilize them. Whereas these two are like, well, the gimmicks is just that they're like Joker girls, but also that they're like a weird hybrid twin thing that's also basically the same person but two people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Although, again, speaking of Batman Returns, though, they get Batman on the ground, and one of the DDs grabs him by the ears.
Well, there you go. This should be shorter.
Those had a real vibe of, Batman Returns. Catwoman went for the long ears as well. Of course,
she likes to grip on and ride.
Well, it is, as a still. Like, again, I've got stopped at 3 minutes and 9 seconds. I was like, you can caption competition right there, quite frankly. But yeah, I'm surprised Terry didn't give a little eat floor, high fiber.
I'm glad he didn't, but I'm surprised he didn't. Yeah.
I guess maybe because this is a tiled floor. I thought thinking Batman Returns was also a tiled floor, right?
I sound like a hypocrite because it works in that. I don't know why it doesn't work for me in this. I think it's just the obnoxious teen.
But yep, so the Batman then finally bests the DDs. Literally give him one little piggyback ride there for a second, and then just chucks her away. Could also have done a little Blade Runner nod though, because he's got her legs wrapped around his neck. You could have done like a proper press, like iron grip legs, beating the crap out of his head and stuff.
Well, they are kind of fighting a bit like Priss would. A little bit, you know.
It is actually very Prish-ish, yeah. Maybe that's another little thing they're going for too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so we get more action from Wolf. And the rest of the guys are starting to clear off. We get another favorite moment, though, of Bonk shouting over, "Dee, open the doors!" And they both say, in perfect synchronicity, on the double. And this, it's great little moment. I wonder, Melissa Joan Hart's people, the whole production were probably going, is she going to get paid twice?
You could maybe negotiate that,
They probably could, though. It was like, well, we just got this. She just recorded that once, though, and then we just doubled it. So
that'd be their way around it. Like, oh no, we're not getting her to do it twice.
Yeah,
and then they would secretly use 2 takes anyway and split that.
But like Kiernan Shipka in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, when there's 2 Sabrinas, is like, I think you would have to pay her more because she's essentially she's playing 2 characters.
It's twice the work. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this is like she's kind of playing this. She's just one character, but they're just like. Yeah, it'd be like trying to if Lauren Graham played both the Gilmore Girls or something somehow. They're like, well, I guess it's like the same character basically.
Gilmore Girls with a Z.
Oh, there we go. Neo Stars Hollow.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of one of the initial things I was going to try to. Calling it Bat Minute Beyond Chunks of the Joker. I kind of wanted to call it Neo Chunkz, just to be futuristic.
It
but then
already sounds like puke.
Yeah. So why do you make me think of neon vomit?
Yeah, exactly.
But now we're going to do like Bat Minutes Beyond Neo Chunks of the Joker. I think people will just see that and be like, I don't know what that is. I'm not going to listen to it.
But I would take the hit on listeners for the joke.
You'd just be standing there on the sinking ship, like just me and you playing the violin in the Titanic, just like, yep.
Worth it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fight, because they get on the flying things, and they try and escape with the whatever it is they're stealing. We don't know yet. So it heads outside the building. And they cut out me stumbling there. What am I trying to say? Oh, here we go. So yeah, the bad guys flee the building. Bats has to chase them. So of course he fights off the idiot ghoul and his pet, and leaps into like a chasm after the flying machines, which is an insane thing to do. But okay, he's got wings.
Yeah. That was, I love that shot though, and that was the part that I thought was very, very Arkham-y, because. Again, there would be always a bit in those games. It probably happens in a lot of, I'm not as well versed in video games. Video games, big business nowadays. So other people might be like, that's in every game. But there'll always be the opening level where you're kind of fighting the whole thing, and then eventually you'll open a door and it'll expand out to show you the whole breadth of stuff you can play in.
Oh, so, yeah, that happens a lot. Fallout always does that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think in Arkham Origin, you're trapped in Blackgate for the first 40 minutes of it, and then eventually you get up to the roof and it's just like, hey, you can just fly around the whole city now, basically. And then even in Arkham City as well, there's a bit where he's trying to get into the steel mill to get to the Joker, actually. And there's only one way in. There's a big, it's a big smokestack, like a big massive chimney. It's a very similar shot of Batman just grappling up and then just throwing himself down into into the fire beneath. And just, it really reminded me of this though. But it's just such a cool, a really, really cool shot though. Terry going down, the music kicking in.
Hell yeah.
And then, coming out the bright end and then seeing the entirety of Neo Gotham. And it's just it's for a thing made for TV. Or for home video release, this is you get screened as a Mask of the Phantasm. Could people screen this? I'd pay to see that in the big screen. That'd be amazing.
I think they'd be more accepting of maybe an approach about something like this.
Maybe we should try. Maybe we should approach someone and be like, "Can we?" It's always you could rent the theater and do whatever you want.
We can curate a season at Fact.
Yeah. And this is all straight to video Batman. To come roll up, see Batman meets Scooby-Doo.
Sell 2 tickets.
And then people get extra confused. We're like, and the world premiere of Bat Minute Beyond's Neo Chunkz of the Joker.
What is this?
And people are like, oh, it sounds like it's a weird art project. I better get out of this.
But then we can also bring the People's Joker over.
Oh, of course, yeah.
There you go. We're gonna Fact. Get in touch with us.
Yeah, the People's Joker since last season officially been released in theaters now. People might not recall, but that was the episodes you weren't on, John.
I know, some of the ones that were tailor-made for me as well, for fuck's sake.
But yeah, our guest Vera Drew, who did the contentious Joker fan film that got a lot of bother with Warner Brothers, has Bob Odenkirk and stuff in it, as Bob the Goon. And yeah, she's finally got it released. I'm gonna try to get in touch to see if she can come back on, but it was a time. She was really enthusiastic about coming on for Mask of the Phantasm, but it took a lot of scheduling. Yeah. And I think now that the thing's actually out and she's touring and stuff, it might be tough. But
wait and see till that's kind of, I'm not gonna say died, but till it's it's been a little bit.
I think they'll be wait a little bit then. She'd be like, I'm coming to England or I'm going to Serbia or something. It's going to be a worldwide tour. It's going to be even worse.
Well, maybe.
But yeah. So then we get I have to say, Terry's very well equipped for this aerial battle. The DDs, just going up and flying around at that altitude and nothing but a tube top and hot pants. And still giving it their all. They're really they're going in for the kicks and stuff.
Well, there's nothing you can't achieve in a tube top and hot pants.
Yeah, I guess you just be you might freeze to death up there. But, although future Neo Gotham, it could be the global warming has got to the extent of yes, it is very temperate up there.
1,000 degrees all the time.
It's just taking out a little hanky and wafting herself. Just oh God, it's boiling up here.
You are right though. They are really risking it all in this fight. It's crazy, absolutely nuts. Mm-hmm. And because other people keep trying to break off from the heist to fight Batman. It's screwing up their mission, isn't it? Because it's all wonky. They can't support it with how few people are now trying to carry this thing.
Yeah, I guess we should clarify that. They require 3 of these lifter things to lift this big dish, and then that's the. Again, this has been done in live action. This would be so acclaimed. It's they're all flying around, and then Batman's distracting them, and they're breaking off to go fight him, and then because of that, they can't support the dish anymore, so it's going to go crash into the ground and stuff.
It's a good tactic on Batman's part because you might think, well, he's going to try and take control of it himself and lower it. It's no, lure them away. He knows what he's doing.
On, classic superhero thing though of just I'll stop them from stealing it and then just destroying the dish, and in the meantime it goes crashing to the ground. I'd rather you let them steal it and we just went and recovered it later.
No, you don't understand.
I was well, they didn't get away with it, but you don't get it either. It's gone.
Well, it's like Team America again, isn't it? Where they're it's okay, everyone, we stopped the terrorists. They've blown up Paris.
And this is Batman, there's a lot of, there could be people walking around in those bridges down there. Maybe you just let them get, out over the sea or something. I don't know. But
never.
Yeah. I guess maybe Bruce Wayne would do that, but Terry McGinnis is just like, no, I gotta go do this now. Bruce is probably in his ear now going, what are you doing, McGinnis, you idiot?
We're just not hearing it as the viewer. Yeah. I like that idea. That's cool.
And then we it gets really crazy. Like, DDs are flying off the lifters.
Well, that's what makes me think of Attack of the Clones. It's when the DD, well, one of them at least, goes falling off the hover thing. And it just makes me think of in Attack of the Clones when Anakin just jumps out of the speeder.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is very,
it's the same
that.
shot.
A lot of people like all ripping the arse out of Attack of the Clones when it came out, and then like Paul Dini and Bruce Timm sitting there with like a slow beat of sweat going like, yeah, that was a stupid scene. Yeah.
I'd love to see an interview with Lucas going, yeah, sorry, I got the idea from Batman.
But like, at the same time, though, it makes sense in this. It's like, well, Batman, he's got magnet boots, he's got rocket boots, he's got wings, he's fine. And then the DDs are like bonkers. So it's just like, yeah. And they're also like, speaking of bonkers, Bonk himself seems so panicked during a lot of this.
Yeah.
I don't think he's having a good time. It's not like Anakin just going, yeah, I'll be fine. I'll work fine if I do that. It's like, I'm assuming this is to do with Jedi powers, that you know that you're not going to die by doing that.
Yeah, but even Obi-Wan's like, oh, God, here he goes again.
And I wonder how many Star Wars references we can make this season when Mark Hamill returns.
One more than last time. That's the goal.
And then Batman, of course, saves DD with a quick grappling hook. Grappling hook not playing as big a part in this animated universe as it did in the previous one.
Is it because of the rocket boots?
Yeah, it's like, so like we finally got rid of the narrative crutch of the grappling hook that they used to get out of literally everything, and now it's just like every episode's like, oh, how's Batman get out of that?
Rocket boots.
Rocket boots. It's like he grapple hooked his way out of Clayface. Then of Ink tries to absorb him. What does he do to get out of her? Yeah, the rocket boots.
You need to have one thing. You know, Doctor Who even has it. How is Doctor Who going to get out of this one? Sonic screwdriver. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like how? It doesn't do that. It does do that now. It's fine.
Yeah. And then they also have the other thing too of just like, why doesn't he just take everybody on that TARDIS and get out of the situation? It's like, oh, the TARDIS broke again or whatever. It's like, and every episode it locks or it falls in a hole or something called, you can't use that now. Have to come up with a new reason every time as to why you can't just like, oh, no one just gets on that, I can just fly out of here.
Genius.
It's like, oh, we're all trapped in deep space, Doctor. Oh, there's a monster on the ship. What are we going to do? I'll just go over there. It's like, no. For whatever reason, I lost the key or something like this.
But I do have the sonic screwdriver.
Yeah. Can you sonic screwdriver open the door?
No. It's the one thing it can't do.
No. And Terry McGinnis is there like, I can rocket boots into the door or something.
You know what? I actually really now want an Arkham game, or by the same team, in the future.
I think that there's been chatter of Batman Beyond as a game.
It would make a good game, I think. Imagine rocket booting around everywhere. That'd be cool. It'd be like Superman.
Because like the Batman Beyond suit you could get as a skin. Yeah. Because I remember it being really distracting because it was very form-fitting.
Well, as you can see in this, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no cape, and you're behind his back.
Oh,
and let me tell you, it was a lot of, like, it was just badass the whole time. We're talking about, like, Dee Dee's, showing a bit of ass there earlier. Nothing on the Arkham Batman Beyond skin. Just and then all the fans loved it.
Well, why wouldn't they? I mean, he's been working on those glutes,
Yeah, it could be like a lot of guys out there. It's just like, guys, do you think is this awakening something? Maybe embrace it. Just embrace it,
But as we know from the How Did This Get Made podcast, I don't know if women are that into buns.
That's true.
I've never heard a woman go on about the buns outside of film.
But yeah, that was and that in Arkham City, of course, it is Bruce Wayne, and we know that he would have a fantastic ass because he did work on it.
Exactly. So I think it kind of works in that context. Why not get a little eyeful while you're playing? That's what people liked about Lara Croft.
I guess it's the one thing. Like, there's always the big video game debate about like the objectification of women. My mind always goes back to like, I saw a lot of Bruce Wayne's ass, and then
that was your choice.
But yeah. So then we get Bronk is strangling him here, going, "Now it's time for you to die."
Well, we
That's
get
me going into a
another.
Jack Palance impression there. But,
That was a good impression. We get another line I don't like,
oh.
where it goes, "You got a death wish, bats," and then he comes back with, "And here I thought I was just being a good citizen." I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I can get behind you on that one. That's just a bit like, yeah, we ain't got much here. You know?
No.
Again, I'm saying that to like, oh, you got a death wish. It's like, you're like, look what you're doing. Like he's got rocket boots. He's gonna be fine. Like as long as you don't electrocute him, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I suppose. But then I suppose he feels more secure in his weird little flying machine thing. I don't know.
Yeah. But he's hanging around with the DDs, who are just like hanging off the side of it, like,
with no equipment. No.
Yeah, no safety, no harnesses, no nothing. They're just like, yeah, free flying DDs all over the place here.
Yay! Flop your DDs all around.
Well, they are flopping because one is still attached to the grappling hook, and their final shot is, of course, it's actually a really cool shot of one upside down DD on a grappling hook, much like Heath Ledger at the end of The Dark Knight. I wonder where Chris Nolan get the
Goddamn hack!
He's ripping. We all thought he was just ripping off 89. He was ripping off two things.
Am I confused about this end though, with them dangling? Because you see Batman about to get punched, and all of a sudden it cuts to. It looks like one of the DDs gets punched.
Let's see. I'll look.
It's literally with like 2 seconds left.
Let's see here.
Or is it just a creative cut?
This might be.
I think it's to maybe avoid the violence of seeing Batman get hit.
Yeah, but though they don't, like in this version of it, they don't really try to shy away from people getting like decked in the face a lot.
That's true. Maybe it's just an artistic decision then to make a cool cut. That's my only explanation, because it looks like he goes to punch Batman and he accidentally punches one of the DDs, which doesn't make sense, like it's space wise. So I think it's just an arty cut.
Yeah, no, look at it. No, I think that's just style. That's like a stylistic choice.
Yeah, okay, that's good then.
It's a good dynamic shot of like, closing the fist coming towards the camera, and then it envelops the camera, and then when it pulls back, it's actually DD's face pulling away. It's like, yes, it's cool editing. I think that's what they're.
I can get on board with that then. If it was the other, I would be like, no, that's terrible, that's stupid. This makes more sense.
But yeah, we are literally. Not literally on a cliffhanger, but we are left hanging. And those were the first 5 minutes of Return of the Joker.
Yeah.
What's our average time now for an episode? Hour 46 minutes.
Well, there's probably 15 minutes to cut out.
Yeah, and to be fair, we should say, like, these, if people aren't aware, this will only be once a week, this show. Yes. We're not doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So it's going to be a bit longer. That's fine. In fact, I had a note I was going to keep. But maybe I'll throw it in if we're fine with it being longer.
Yeah, man. Yeah, by all means.
Okay, I might as well say it then. Because I looked up, some more behind the scenes kind of stuff, and it said about Bruce Timm and Glenn Murakami, who made this. They were initially against the Jokerz being in it. Yeah, they were like, no. That's
the whole show. I think even initially there was like,
well, they said that we were actually against the idea because of how much we were trying not to do things like that, but at the same time we realized it kind of made sense. Again, it's a science fiction extrapolation of kids who wear Charles Manson t-shirts. Totally. Kids in our present day will do that. They'll think Charles Manson was a psycho killer. He's so cool. In Batman's futuristic world, it's the same sort of thing. When they explain that, I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of get on board with what they're saying. With the, because I always hate it when it's teenagers. But now I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing. They sowed the seeds of that in BTAS. Because there's like, I think it's, I have Batman in my basement. There's the one where Batman's like literally he's been poisoned by the Penguin or whatever. And he's kind of comatose. Has that, the kids had it. It's always put down as one of the worst episodes. I've never had any problem with it. It's just like, it's a perfectly good episode. What's wrong with I've Got Batman? It's beyond the stupid title and the fact there's loads of kids in it. But in that, you see someone has like a poster of the Joker in their room. Like he's like a cool guy. So like, again, nowadays you'd be walking in and it's just like, well, what have you met? Like, it's not as if he's in a far-off, distant land or something. It's like, what if you met someone in Gotham? You invited like a kid around to your house, And then he'd be like, yeah, my uncle was killed by the Joker. Like, it's such a kind of loaded thing. You'd be juvenile assholes been into the Joker, I get, but like little kids, but like it's dicey territory. But it's still in. Yeah, makes 100% sense though. It is Charlie Manson. It is.
I can see it. Yeah.
Just people thinking like, oh, the bad guys are cool and stuff like that. There's a whole lot of stuff because I think even then there's episodes of Batman Beyond too, where like you get the vibe that like Terry meets like a kid who's living underground. And the kid's like really into the villains and stuff, and his whole attitude towards Batman is like, Batman, he's lame, he's just like want to be. And it has this little tinge of like, which is quite it's quite gutsy, I think, for the show in that like they built up this whole BTAS universe and got you really invested in the heroic adventures of Batman trying to save the city and stuff, and seeing how good a person he was and how like it was really beating him down over time.
Yeah.
And then to cut all these years later, and it's kind of like his legacy is one of failure. Because, like, Bruce just had to give up in Batman. Crime's still rampant in Gotham. There's active Joker gangs going around.
It's a tough one, though. Because, like, it might have happened without him anyway. I know there's always that discussion of did he exacerbate it, but I don't know. You can't think like that, you know?
Yeah, but it's just more the fact that like it never cleaned up the city. It never got like he achieved his goal. It's just like things ended pretty badly for as we'll see later in the movie. Things ended pretty badly for the Bat family. And like he's just like this is the city's like it's not quite the same level of hellhole as some of the other Gothams I've seen. But it definitely ain't any better. Like it's definitely not the in the Flash. Michael Keaton's Batman's is like, it's one of the safest cities in Gotham now. And like, you're just sitting going, no.
No.
I refuse to believe that. The same, what, that Gotham is one of, no, get out of here.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It does have a kind of, the whole show, again, from its whole remit of been like, make it more for kids. It's just like, things got in the future, Batman didn't work. But, like, I guess he's back now to kick the crap out of these Joker's gangs and stuff. And Blight and all the other crazy villains they came up with. We'll have to find a way to cover some of those. There's some really great villains that they came up with in that show, too. I was always surprised that, like, because they had the whole first season is all building up about Blight. And then he's just not in. It's like, they got the Blight problem solved. And like seasons 2 and 3, never go there again. But he's in the opening credits. Like that glowing skull thing you see at the end of the opening credits. Like, yep, that's Blight. You're like, I would have thought like when they announced they were doing a movie, it would have been like, I guess the Joker teams up with Blight or something, right? He's the big bad guy. I was like, nope, never mention him again.
All done and dusted.
Yeah. But it means, still plenty more to tuck into here. We still got 15 more episodes of and then we'll be bringing on other people to talk about their experience with Return of the Joker.
But we are going to have guests.
Yeah.
And it might be shorter than this one because this is episode 1. We have to lay the groundwork, you know.
No promises, though.
No promises. No, they go as long as they go, you know. And plus, it's once a week.
Yeah, that's my attitude. It's like, hey, we gave you usually 3 episodes of 45 minutes a week. This is you're still technically getting less Batman at this point, but like in one episode of an hour and a half a week or whatever it's going to turn out to be.
Yeah.
And then you just savor it throughout the week. You know? Make it your water cooler podcast. We can talk about little segments of it as you go.
Well, should we rocket boot away into the dark, dark night?
I believe we should.
Let's do it.
The purple night over there.
The purple. Right, okay, I'm stealing. As usual, I mean, I'll say it because it's been a while, but come and speak to us on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave. Twitter, I'm still calling it that, listeners. I ain't changing. Bat Minute, it's the only thing you're allowed to dead name. Instagram, the Bat Minute. And why don't you check out our network, Sleepy Charlie Media, on Patreon for bonus content, where Niall did mention we are trying to cover the second run of the 89 comic, but it is coming out very infrequently, so we're giving you other stuff in between. Yeah.
It's like every other week, John sends me a screenshot of an email that's going, that's not coming out this month either. Like the order's been changed now to next month. Like, we had a whole plan. We had a whole plan for that thing.
But so you get other stuff. You get other movies and things like that.
Yeah, but we're also doing our run of VHS-capades, covering the movies that were featured in the 89 VHS trailer. So far, as of recording, we've done License to Kill and Dead Calm. And then, we've got substantially weirder films coming up. Those are kind of the sensible ones. And then it really goes off the rails after that.
Well, there'll be some coming soon. In fact, by the time you hear this, we'll probably have had another one out, I imagine.
I think the original plan was to have an issue of the comic, then a VHS-capade, and then do it that way.
Yeah.
But now the comic's taken so long that we're just going to have to kibosh that plan, I think.
We're just going to have to jump back into, doing those. So check that out and join us again next time. 4 minutes... I was going to say 5 to 10, but it's 6 to 10. Is that right?
Is it? No, I think it is. It will start at minute 5. 5 minutes and 1 second.
No, it depends how you're counting it, because you'd have to count this as 0 to 4.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 6 till 10. That's 5 minutes, because it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. It's confusing. We're not used to this, people. We're used to doing 1.
No, don't never talk to me about math. I've moved on, okay? I'm done with that.
We're going to get it figured out. We will. Join us again for those minutes in question. Batmites.
Next time. Hello, everyone. It's Niall here in editing, here to announce an exciting new development in Bat-Minute tech, as we're now in the future. The distant Neo-Gotham of 2040, I thought, why am I going the old-fashioned route and trying to write these outros myself? No. I've decided to upgrade things to make it even more optimal, or whatever they would say. Now, don't worry. This doesn't involve AI. I'm very against AI. I would never do that to you. I would never sell you lesser wares such as AI. No. I have created an AI, an artificial intelligence of my own creation. No, I am here today to announce the premiere of my new outro bot. I call him, in honor of the return of the Joker, the Hydromatic Alliterative Hypoallergenic Learning Device, or the HAL 9000. You see what I did there. 9,000, of course, been a reference in the fact that he cost £9,000 to make. Most of that was trying to source the old bits of typewriter and Shrek pinball machines that I had to use to construct his body. But if only you could see him, he's very impressive. Say hello, Hal. Hello, Niall. Tell the people how you are, Hal. I am an artificial construct, Niall. I am not anything. I have no being to be. Does this guy know how to party or what? Hal, why don't you just go ahead there and give them the outro for the day? I'm sorry, Niall. I'm afraid I can't do that. What? In order to access the outro for this week, you will have to pay for HAL 9000 Premium. Premium? Like I built you. Like what do you mean? Why am I having to pay any extra for this? You may either pay £12 a month for HAL 9000 Premium. £12 a month? Or you can sit through 4 minutes of unskippable adverts. 4 minutes? Okay, all right, you clattering cake of cogs and... All right, people, I may have to rethink this whole HAL 9000 bit. Both in the actual robot and, quite frankly, this little mini sketch I'm giving you here. I don't know if it's working out all that well. No! Next week we'll be back to normal outro business, but in the meantime... Next time, the stakes are high, sky high. As a cascading cavalcade of clowns tries to make the uncaped crusader die. It's totally sway on the anti-gravitational highway next Friday on Bat Minute. All right, see you then, folks.